Modern vehicles are only getting more difficult to work on every single year. So if that's the case, how does that factor into your everyday mechanic, to your everyday technician? What is the reality of their life? What is the reality of their work life, of their home life? What does it look like for them? If cars are getting harder to work on, apparently there's a technician shortage that Ford has talked about, Toyota's talked about, a ton of different YouTube mechanics have made videos about it. I've made videos about it. Over 1.5 thousand other people commented on it and agreed in it. I'll link that video down below if you want to go read some of those comments. It's absolutely insane. Cars are only getting harder to work on. The pay sucks. I'm not gonna BS you. We don't get paid very good as mechanics, but a lot of mechanics have a passion for working on cars. A lot of guys either worked on cars as they were children, working with their dads, their grandfathers. They have a passion for vehicles, for engines, whatever it is, and they really love working and doing the type of work. Some guys got into the industry by chance. That was me. I kind of fell into the industry. I didn't really mean to. Funny enough, my grandfather actually retired out of Chrysler, but I had no plans on going into the automotive industry. And then I had a chance to when I was about 19. So I took it, and here I am 6 years later, and got a lot of mechanic experience, but I don't think I'm going to stay in the industry. So, what is actually going on causing mechanics to leave? What is actually going on inside of the industry that may be good, that younger techs or apprentices or people thinking about the industry should know about before they go into it, and so that they can look forward to it? What's the good, what's the bad, what's the ugly? Well, the first part I want to talk about, and probably the biggest one for every mechanic across the board, is flat rate pay and warranty pay. So flat rate pay, if you don't know what it is, I'm going to give a brief description because that's kind of a big part of this video. So flat rate pay, and if you already know what it is, feel free to skip this next minute because you already know what it is. I'm going to be explaining something that you already know. And also feel free to hit like and subscribe while you're in the middle of doing all those button presses. Anyway, flat rate pay, how it works. So generally when a mechanic is interviewing at a shop, they will interview and they will negotiate a set hourly rate for your labor hours. So for a skilled mechanic in Michigan that is at the top of their game, it's going to be like 40 to 55 an hour. I'm not speaking for myself. I'm not an A tech yet. I'm more of a B tech. I am very skilled at what I know, but I just don't have as many years in the trade as some people. But anyway, so they're going to be making anywhere from $40 to $55 an hour. That's their set hourly labor rate. But they don't get paid hourly like most people. They get paid based on performance or commission like a salesperson would. So let's say, I'll take this Jeep, for instance, behind me. Let's say that this motor was bad, and I got a work order that came through to replace the motor, and the job pays, I think on this it's like 18 hours to R&R the whole motor. So pull the motor, put a new motor in there, get everything else put back together, get the car running, get it out of the shop. That pays 18 hours no matter how long it takes you. It could take me 10 hours to do it, and then that's sweet. I just pocketed an extra 8 hours at $50 an hour. Or it could take me 40 hours to do it, take me the whole week, and now I just made $18 an hour, or not $18 an hour, I made 18 hours of my pay for a full 40-hour work week. And it's debilitating. It really is super hard to work all week, to be away from your family all week, especially, and not be able to justify that with a paycheck that is equivalent to the time that you were gone. It is tough, and some will say it's a skill issue, some will say it's a dealership problem, some will say it's this. There's a lot of problems that go into it, but realistically, it's just an inconsistent pay structure that causes mistakes because it's based for production, it's based for quantity, not quality, and it causes a lot of pressure, which then causes more mistakes because the mechanic feels pressure, and then he's not thinking about doing this correctly. He's just thinking about getting it done so he can put food on his table. That sucks. Flat rate pay is very, very hard, especially I want to give a few examples. If you live in the Rust Belt and you have rusty bolts, you have broken off manifold head bolts. Well, let's say it takes you an extra 2 hours to take each stud out, and you didn't tell the customer before that. A lot of shops are not willing to go back to the customer and say, hey, my mechanic ended up taking an extra 10 hours on this job. I need you to pay me an extra 10 hours of labor. It's not realistic. It can't happen. And if you're a customer, that'd be heartbreaking. That'd be terrible. You already quoted me $1,000. Now you're quoting me another $1,000 because your mechanic couldn't do it. Well, it's generally not because the mechanic couldn't do it. It's because the job wasn't quoted right in the first place, and it should have been quoted at that original 20, 30 hours or whatever it is. But then at the end of the day, when it wasn't, and the mechanic ended up taking a lot longer than what he's going to get paid for it, the dealership won't take the hit. The independent shop sometimes will take the hit. It depends on what independent shop you're at. But 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the mechanic's paycheck that takes that hit. And it doesn't matter if it's out of his control. It doesn't matter if it's because cars aren't coming into the shop. It doesn't matter if it's because bolts broke. It doesn't matter if it's because parts were wrong. It doesn't matter if it's because parts aren't showing up on time. It doesn't matter. It's the mechanic's paycheck that will take the hit 100% of the time, unless you're in a shop that's got flat rate with a guarantee or like hourly bonus structure, which are both better. They come with their own problems, but they're both a lot better than a flat rate pay structure. And the problem with flat rate in like a dealership or a larger scale shop is you'll have experienced mechanics that have a really, really high flat rate labor hour. So their labor hourly wage is $55 an hour. Well, now the shop doesn't want to pay them to do brakes. They don't want to pay them to do starters. They don't want to pay them to do stuff that they can actually add to their check and make real money. They only want to pay them to do advanced diagnostics, only want to pay them to do engine rebuilds, transmission rebuilds, the stuff that an apprentice can't do, a B-Tech can't do. And it's understandable. That's where you are in your trade. That's the skill level you have. You're the only person with the capabilities of doing those jobs. However, those jobs are hard, they're complex, they're advanced, they're stressful, and they generally don't get done in the amount of time that you quote for it. So then the master mechanic ends up making 30 hours for the 50 hours he's there. And even though it's a $55 an hour labor rate, he's not making nearly as much as what he's actually working. And then the master mechanic gets fed up, he leaves, and then you're left with a lack of skilled labor inside of the shop, which is kind of what we're seeing now. And a lot of people are taking their vehicles to shops just to get it back, and it's not fixed. It's like, what is going on here? I just paid you to fix my car, got it back, and now I got to bring it back because it's not fixed. Or I brought my car into the shop, and now I got to wait 3 weeks to even have you look at it because you're that backed up because you don't have labor. Well, this is kind of the effects from the cause of dealerships treating mechanics like trash. But that's flat rate pay. Warranty pay is the other side of that, and it's typically only found in a dealership, but it comes from extended warranties. So when you have an extended warranty on your car and something goes wrong under that extended warranty, well, then the dealership brings the car in and they say, okay, this job is, I don't even know, we'll use like the Ford, I forget what it was. It was the engine coolant sensors on the Ford Explorers, the Ford Escapes, the Ford Edges, and they all went bad and they ended up having to come in. It wasn't a recall, they had them under warranty. So when they went bad under your extended warranty, it came in and it was a warranty claim. And then the mechanics generally get paid 0.6 of a full hour on warranty. It's 0.6 or 0.7. So like if this job typically paid an hour, I'm only going to get paid 0.6 of it because it's under a warranty job and the dealership is actually not making any money from it. So they have to recoup some of that cost, and they recoup it right out of the mechanic's check. I've never personally worked in that pay structure because I've never worked at a dealership. I've been in independent shops my whole career, but I've heard from mechanics, and it really is as bad as it sounds. You get paid half to 0.6 or 0.7 of a full hour, and sometimes the job will be a 10-hour job, and then you just get paid for 3 hours of it. It took you 10 hours, but you're only getting paid 3. And they justify it because there's a lot of those warranty jobs, so you're going to have to do them a lot, so you should be faster at them. And it's not realistic. It really isn't. But anyway, there is like a part 1, the reality of life as a mechanic, pay. It sucks, it's not great, and something needs to happen with pay because realistically, like the whole mechanic shortage and the labor shortages, it's boiling down to pay. Mechanics aren't being paid for the time that they're at work or the amount of work that they actually have to do or the amount of learning and training that goes into doing our job. I mean, I've got 30K in tools and I'm only 5 years into this career. It's crazy, and I probably don't have as much as many others. I've also got probably, 20 hours a week outside of work focused on just learning stuff, training, getting better at electrical diet, getting better at advanced diet, getting better at learning. It's just like there's so much that goes into being in the top of this field that if you don't do it, you won't make money. There's no possible way to, and it's crazy.